Hi, my name is George Araiza, and I offer workshops on how to live a successful life beyond the 12-step program. The 12-step program was brought into being around the 1930s, and since the 1930s and its inception, not much has changed. Unfortunately, since that time, knowledge and information that is useful in order to completely get rid of addictive behavior is now available. One of the things that I help people to understand is that step one is not true. You are not powerless. You are powerful. And it's important to also ask yourself these important questions. What have I recovered? Have I recovered my dignity and self-respect? Have I recovered my ability to treat myself and others in a loving, thoughtful, and kind way? Have I recovered the ability to do not just for myself, but for other people? Those things are very important. Many times in 12-step programs, you have individuals who arrest, let's say, the drinking or the drug use, but then they switch addictions from alcohol and drugs to sex addiction, food addiction, addiction to gambling, addiction to shopping, hoarding, you name it. Why does this happen? Because the underlying cause of addictive behavior is not being addressed in the 12-step program. It's really important for people to understand that if they can get rid of and arrest completely the trauma that underlies the addictive behavior, then their lives can be truly free and happy. They can lead a healthy, happy, and holy life. There are three parts to who we are. There is the physical body, there is the emotional body, and there is the spiritual body. All three need to be attended to and maintained in good condition and good health. My interactive workshops help individuals to do that. I also talk to people about what is in their subconscious mind, because trauma is stored in the limbic system of the brain. It's in the subconscious mind, and it causes a disconnect between the conscious and the subconscious mind. So through techniques such as relaxation, stretching, yoga, those things can help the individual who's had trauma to be reconnected. That is, it helps them to reconnect the conscious and the subconscious minds so that they can see that there are certain behaviors they've learned, there are certain attitudes about themselves that have come from their family of origin that are not true and that are causing them problems. So in my workshops, I work to address those issues so that the person can be free of the fears and the phobias associated with trauma. There are different types of trauma, and they vary in type, they vary in degree of severity. There is physical trauma, there is verbal abuse, and there's also sexual trauma. So all of those different things cause people to live a life that is reactive as opposed to acting towards a situation in a way that is healthy and good, not just for them, but for the people they interact with. And I also know that many times when these people are taking drugs or they're overindulging in alcohol, they're trying to transcend their physical experience. They basically are trying to have a spiritual experience and they don't know how. So it's a lot better, as I mentioned in my workshops, for people to use prayer, meditation, yoga, to release this trauma and be connected to their higher power. That's really, really important. And even the 12-step program talks about a spiritual aspect to our lives. I've studied many cultures, ancient, modern, and the common theme that runs through all of them is a desire and a need to worship. Whether it's Machu Picchu that you visit, or you visit the pyramids, or Native American Indians, the spiritual need is something that everybody has, and it's important that that be addressed. I know that there is a gentleman in Malibu who his father kept asking him, why do you use drugs? What is it? What's the fascination? And the only thing that his son could tell him was that whenever he used heroin, that it was like looking into the face of God. So that's telling you that this individual didn't know how to address the underlying trauma. He obviously was unhappy. There were a lot of things that must have happened to him, and he was trying to find a way to transcend the experience that he was having, but he just didn't have the right tools. So in my workshops, I talk about this, and certainly it's important to know that you can recover completely. You can have a life where drugs, alcohol, external things don't affect or bother you. It's really important to understand that your self-image is the thing that has a lot to do with whether or not you engage in addictive behavior. The better you feel about yourself, the less you will externalize through material things, money, even looking to other people for a sense of completeness. It's really important to look at yourself and understand that you deserve to be treated with love, dignity, and respect. The higher your level of self-care, the better you'll be able to interact with everybody that is around you, whether it's at work, school, at home, because wherever you go, there you are. So why not take the best you that you can everywhere you go? In my workshops, I also talk about the fact that for every action, there is an equal positive or negative reaction. And that is something that's associated with karma, good or bad. Everything we do comes back to us like a boomerang. Also, I will be discussing reap what you sow. That is another thing that encompasses the idea of whatever you send out comes back to you. And certainly that's true. When you're a nicer, kinder, thoughtful person, people treat you accordingly. If you're really mean, you're aggressive, and you're angry, this is also going to cause you problems. There are tools that I use in my workshop, such as mirror work. And also, why do I say that yoga and stretching is important? Well, whenever you relive those traumatic experiences, you allow your body to go through a very negative physiological change. Usually the muscles tighten, the blood pressure becomes elevated, the breathing becomes more shallow, and it's really important to release yourself from this. Release the underlying cause of these feelings and these bodily reactions so that you can lead a really healthy life. It's really something that you owe to yourself to do, not just for yourself, but for your loved ones. When you are able to become a healthier, happier person who also takes care of your spiritual needs, it's going to make quite an impact in a positive way in your life. And this is something that I would like to share with you if you're open to attend any of my workshops. The workshops are interactive. If you have questions, I will answer them. I also talk about the chakra system. There are 7 chakras, and it's important to be balanced because the root chakra has the element of earth. And usually when people are traumatized, that element is missing, and they tend to lead a pretty destabilized life because they aren't really seeing things as they really are. And I'll talk about Pavlov's dog and conditioned responses, conditioned emotional responses, again, that are stored in the limbic system of the brain and that need to consciously be addressed so that they can be removed. Once you remove the root cause of addictive behavior, then you have succeeded. Like anything else, a tree whose root is not completely gotten rid of grows back. Same with addictive behavior. If the underlying cause of the addictive behavior is never addressed and gotten rid of, then the addictive behavior is going to come back. If it doesn't come back through drugs or alcohol, it's going to manifest itself in other ways, again, as I mentioned, through sex addiction, food addiction, hoarding, all of these things that cause life to be imbalanced because the focus is not in an appropriate place. So all of these things are things that I discuss in my workshops. How to live life free from addiction, free from the tenets of the 12-step program, because unfortunately 12-step programs don't go far enough and they don't really encompass the psychosocial components of addictive behavior. So I hope, as I mentioned, that you will take advantage of the workshops that I offer, and so that you can live a healthy, happy, and holy life. Sat Nam. I wish you the best. Take care.